meeting, inshallah. Bismillah.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to everybody. As Ustaz said, like I only did like research on this topic. I read a couple of books and read things online and gathered my notes to go into this topic. So I'm gonna start off by saying like a couple of vocab words. So we have mawadda, which means love, and rahma, which means mercy. And so we gotta keep that in mind throughout the lesson. So and we also have hub, which is love. So love is, as a noun, is a strong and positive emotion of regard and affection. And as a verb, it's a feeling of intense affection given freely without any restriction. Um, Hub exists persons, um, in all people with either sensibility for everyone or passion when you're strongly excited for, for a particular person. Um, as every word has its antonym, the antonym of love, hub, is ishq. Ishq is a deep and obsessive love that leads to people committing haram deeds. And the difference between hub and ishq is that one is natural and one is intellectual. Um, 4 steps to develop love is basically using your eye, and which is the side of heart. You shouldn't describe another woman to a married man. A next step is admiration. So to have admiration to various characteristics of this person. The next is obsession. Not I like ishq. There's a healthy obsession where you're obsessing over thoughts of the future and logistic wise with this person. Next is the building hope and establishing commitment, because if you're not looking to build hope and establish commitment, then you're looking for haram deeds. That's basically like saying you're going into a relationship with the hope of a heartbreak, which is not right. And the 3 main categories of love is natural love slash passion, so your emotion, like feeling of love. Next is rational love, so balancing the two between your emotional feelings and your rational feelings. And next is religious love, so doing it for the sake of Allah, because love, at the end of the day, marriage is an act of worship. All forms of love are parallel unless one does not surpass the other, because then that becomes shirk. Now, the signs of love is basically the broadening gaze, so like somebody catches your eye. Next is like directing conversations to a beloved one. So when you're conversing with this person, you're oftentimes talking about a mutual friend or somebody like near and dear to you. The next is resemblance. As humans, we tend to resemble like the people that positively impact. That's why a lot of times people say like pick your friends wisely, because you do pick up traits from people that you feel positively impact your life. Next is engaging in like a playful tug of war. So like that means joking around with this person, like like your emotions are happier with this person. Next is opposites attract, which is like a rule, natural law. Sometimes they fight. It's a sign of love. This means that, like, as humans, you wouldn't waste your time arguing with somebody that you feel like won't understand what you mean or won't like understand you. And so, if you if you decide to um, if you decide to argue with the person, it's probably because you feel as though this person will like try to listen to you. Next is like you're hurrying to their location. So if you know that the person that you like or you admire is in a certain location and you're heading there, you would try to go there faster. And when you're there, like I said earlier, your emotion is higher. And then next with love, you can cry and you have decrease in sleep and appetite, because like love is one of the strongest emotions out there, and it's very, very strong. So the ruling of love in Islam is that love is never in our hands. It's always in the hands of Allah. So from the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, narrated by Ibn Majah, a man came to Rasulullah and said, Ya Rasulullah, we are taking care of an orphan girl. 2 men came and asked for the hand of the marriage of the orphan girl. One was rich and one was poor, but the orphan girl loves the poor man, and the man taking care of her said that he likes the rich man. So they said, which one should he choose? To which uh, Rasulullah responded to allow the girl to marry the poor one. And the lesson we should learn here is that the mate should not be judged on their status or their wealth. Another one, narrated by Sahih Bukhari, Amr bin As came to the Prophet ﷺ after he gave Amr the commander of an expedition and asked, O Rasulullah, who is the most beloved to you amongst all mankind? And he responded with Aisha radiallahu anha. Amr said, then, and Rasulullah said, her father. Abu Huraira, may Allah be pleased with him, narrated that the Prophet ﷺ said that a woman is married for 4 reasons: her wealth, noble ancestry, beauty, and religion. And you should choose the religious woman, lest your hand is stuck to dust because of destitution. And that was the saying in that time. This is narrated by Bukhari and Muslim. And lest your hand stuck to dust because of destitution was the saying at the time, basically meaning may you be blessed. Sheikh Ibn Uthaymin said, a marriageable woman should have these 2 merits. A woman who's characterized by both physical and spiritual beauty. Physical beauty means the perfection of features. In the Quran, in Surah Ar-Rum, ayah 21, it said, and of his signs is that he created for you from yourselves mates that you may find tranquility in them, and he placed between you affection and mercy. Spiritual beauty means the perfection of religion and moral character. A righteous woman always shows affection and respect for her husband, does not delay what he likes her to hasten to, nor hastens what he does not like her to do. When the Prophet ﷺ was asked about which woman is good, he said, she who pleases her husband whenever he looks at her, obeys him whenever he orders her, and doesn't oppose him and herself and his property with what he dislikes. Narrated by Ahmad and An-Nasa'i. Sorry. The best love is when you find someone who makes your iman rise, who makes you more pious, and who helps you here in the dunya, because that person is who you want to meet again in Jannah. And Az-Zuhri said that the first love recognized in Islam was the love that the Prophet ﷺ had for Aisha radiallahu anha. Now, the levels of love, according to the fiqh that I read, was basically there's al-maya, which is the inclination of the heart, al-hawa, which is desire, al-mawadda, which is love, as-sabawa, obsession, al-wala, which is madness, al-gayam, craziness, and antatayim, which is the highest level of love and admiration. Now, once you have love, to keep love alive is like, I can give this analogy where love is like a bank account, right? You need to deposit it in the early days, like of marriage, and that way throughout the marriage you can withdraw it later on. And you got to think of love as an action that to practice on a daily basis. Now, things that can harm love are exploitation of affection. So yeah, acts of disrespect. Once you disrespect another person that you have said that you love, that decreases the amount of love that the person has for you, the respect that the person has for you. Slander, which is creating fitna out of jealousy and ignorance. Long and unnecessary distance. It is said that a lot that long distance doesn't work because you're not next to the person, and so the love has no means or no way to grow. Next is infidelity and betrayal. Once you do an act of infidelity against your partner or betray your partner, it's really hard to regain that trust with the partner, because no matter how hard you try to forget it, it will always come back up. Television and computer can harm love. So now in the modern days, in the modern era, we have social media, which a lot of people like to share a lot about their lives. And we're forgetting about how evil eye exists, because evil eye, once you put your information out there and boast about like anything that you're into, like for example, you just got a new car, you just got a job or something like that, and you put it on social media, there's always going to be people that envy you and envy your relationship and want to do harm against you. And this can harm love because those things are powerful. And now, marriage and family life. So family life must be established by marriage. It's the Marriage in Islam is the only legal way to express love in your spouse in that way. And now, marriage as a definition is a legally recognized and or socially approved arrangement between two individuals, a man and a woman, that carries certain rights and responsibilities. And a fun fact is that the first marriage was between Adam alayhi salam and Hawa. Now, polygamy in Islam. An important thing to note is that Islam did not initiate the system of polygamy. It existed long before, and Islam had just regulated it and added stringent conditions on a person who wanted multiple wives. For example, he must be able to provide and maintain the family and deal with them on a basis of justice and fairness. As mentioned in the Quran in Surah Nisa, the third ayah states, and if you fear that you should not be able to deal justly with the orphan girls, then marry of the women who seem good to you, 2 or 3 or 4. But if you fear that you shall not be able to deal justly with them, then marry only one. Ayah 129 also mentions that you will never be able to be equal in feeling between wives, even if you should strive to do so. So do not incline completely towards one and leave another hanging. And if you amend your affairs and fear Allah, then indeed Allah is ever forgiving and merciful. And so the purpose of marriage is to seek the pleasure of the Prophet ﷺ, for procreation, for seeking intercession of the righteous child when you leave this world, to leave behind a righteous child, for pleasure, for protection from evil, helping to protect from gays and zina, and to free some time from life responsibilities, because at the end of the day, you're always going to come back home to your wife, or you're always going to come back home to your husband. And also mujahadatun nafs, which is the hardship of bringing up a righteous family. Now, the rulings of marriage in Islam is fard, which is obligatory, and meaning that you're financially capable and you can treat your wife properly. Next is wajib, which is you're financially stable, can treat your wife properly, but will commit zina if you don't marry. Next is mustahab, which is recommended. Similar to wajib, if he has the means and can treat wife properly, but no fear in committing zina. Next is makruh, which is a person who has the financial means and capability, but knows that they won't be a good father or husband. For example, they're away from home for long periods of time. Like I was saying earlier, that long and unnecessary distance can harm love. And the next is haram, a person that does not have the financial capability, even though and a person that knows that they cannot treat their wife properly and will commit zina. And now, like I said in the beginning, like mawadda is love, and rahma is mercy. And when you put them together, you get mawadda wa rahma, which means love without mercy, or to give love without any condition. Now, in the process of getting married, there are 5 conditions, and those conditions are: there have to be a consent from both the man and the woman. The woman must have a guardian or wali. There must be at least 2 witnesses. There has to be a mahar dowry, and then the exchange where basically the father says zawajtuka binti, which means I've given my child in marriage, and the husband says qabita, or I have received her. And so when we look at the example on how to go about getting married, or how to go about looking for a partner in the halal way, you have to be as indirect as possible. For example, you have to you can talk to people. You can basically don't go directly to that person. And when we can take note from the story of Khadija radiallahu anha, when she was proposing to the Prophet, she did not go directly to him. She went through her best friend Nafisa and told her how she liked the Prophet, and she went to the Prophet and basically asked for her. And another thing that we should also take note on is that Islam has emphatically ordered that the youth should marry as soon as possible and not shun the command of marriage on the pretext that they may be unable to support their family later on. Um, Mentioned in the fourth surah, ayahs 31 and 32, and marry those among you who are single and who are fit among your male slaves and female slaves. If they are needy, God will make them free um, from want out of His grace, and God is most generous and knowing. And those who do not find the means to marry, keep chaste until God makes them free from want of His grace. And so, yeah, that was the lesson. If anybody has any questions, can...
You've done a good job.
Thank
It's
you.
very short.
You said it's very short.
Perfect. That's good. I like it.
Thank you.
No. It's very short. You're kidding. You cannot be done like this.
I mean, I think I talked very fast. It's probably because I was speaking very
No.
fast.
You were doing good, and everybody was paying attention, and you did it like